My name is Anjella, and my series of images is titled Still Life. It is a photographic project that combines the aesthetic of Dutch still life with the theme of global concern. Each photo focuses on a different topic that is a major issue within today's environmental and societal conditions. I wanted to create these photos to help raise an awareness of the many problems we face and introduce or remind my audience of these issues, presenting them as a spark to trigger an interest and hopefully become a way in which people can recognise what is needed to help the Earth's health. It is vital now more than ever that we act to change the way we think and together solve the climate crisis. We need to enforce transformational actions in our day-to-day to save the planet for us and for future generations.
Outside chair, on the left, and inside chair are documentations of the day that my beloved childhood dog died. However, these documentations are purely from memory, which have been skewed and distorted by grief, acceptance, and detachment. He was dying from organ failure, and for reasons beyond our control, we could not get him to a vet until late that evening. You know, it's a really bizarre feeling digging a grave for a pet who hasn't died yet. Perhaps it's a reflection of knowing that you can't truly grieve without getting the clinical technicalities out of the way. It sounds so cold, but knowing that you have to be strong enough to be logistically perfect for this situation to go as, not fruitful, but as successful as this situation can be, when other family members are obviously, and rightly so, really, really emotional, it's almost confusing because you feel like a bad person and that you're also like suspended in time. It's such a strange, surreal feeling. But I can't help but feel this so-called surrealism is a direct portrayal in each piece of work, both a coping mechanism and a self-explanation. To me at least, there's comfort in contrast and compromise in how we as human beings deal with loss. And while quite vague, each piece really gives me a sense of clarity. And again, I think that mimics how I felt about that day in general. So instead of looking back at it with grief and with loss, I'm looking back at it as an understanding how I work as a human being.
Anam Kara. A friend is a loved one who awakens your life in order to free the wild possibilities within you. The one you love, your Anam Kara, your soul friend, is the truest mirror to reflect your soul. An exploration of the friendships we nurture in our 20s, Anam Kara reflects my experience of girlhood and how it's continued into our lives as young women at university. I started thinking about the representation of girlhood across the creative industries. I became aware that stories are mainly told about girls before they hit 20. Pre-teens and teenagers were the dominant voices. In my experience, the essence of girlhood carries on into your 20s and is just, if not more, important as we properly venture into adult life for the first time. For many, moving away from home to study or grow their careers, their friends become their closest shoulder to lean on. There is an interesting tension in my work that explores the forever feeling of friendship that manifests in the temporary context of university, allowing for girlhood to continue in a way that for others may end when they leave school and enter the working world. My project has been a personal journey, working with my friends and like-minded women to empower each other and have confidence in who we are as women. I have found comfort working with others that are reclaiming their femininity in a way that suits them. My shoots are an active collaboration between me and my subject. I was welcomed to be a part of their intimate moments together as best friends. Being trusted meant my presence was never regarded as intrusive, which created a relaxed atmosphere that enabled me to reflect the organic moments that transpired. Photographing responsibly as I spent time with my models, it was important to me that I did not censor out elements of the dynamics that played out in front of me, because authenticity has been a focus of my project. This has meant that some of my photographs are ambivalent. My project is an exploration of platonic friendships, but some of the photos are more suggestive. I like that although some of the dynamics are explicit, others are left for the observer to wonder. The so-called cult of girlhood continues. I love the girly rituals that have often been stigmatised or used to patronise women throughout time. So here I am, reclaiming them, singing into our hairbrushes together, wearing just our bra and knickers, sitting up gossiping until the sun reappears, having sleepovers in matching pink pyjamas, and laughing until we simply can't anymore. I can't think of a better way to spend my time with my girlfriends.
The painting of Vladimir Putin that you are looking at is called To Posterity, and it is based on the poem by Bertolt Brecht, written in 1939. I became interested in creating hybrids within my practice using a technique similar to stitching together various elements like a monster. This helps to blur the lines between species and humans. What happens visually when a human's behaviour and psychology are mixed with an animal's behaviour and psychology? Controlling the seams of where one section is fused to another section, or not, through various processes, techniques, trial, and lots of errors. Breaking down the infrastructure of one form and blending it with another. How could I apply this language to Putin? I tried very hard to put elements of realism into my work by holding up a skull or a bone and painting it with my right hand, but stitching it together like a monster. Elements of a demon, of an insect, made me feel repulsed. Although skulls don't make me feel repulsed, but certain elements that I put into the painting, I wanted it to look grotesque, and that was the language that I was trying to put into my painting. I stitch together and build my paintings through these different elements and processes to achieve this.
Hi, I'm Alex, and this is my piece for the Plums exhibition. Essentially, it's a collection of body pieces consisting of plaster pieces, which were taken from body casting, 3D digital prints, which were taken from body scans, and printed fabric images of my body. And essentially, this is sort of conglomerated into a sort of pyramid using pallets and broken pieces of metal as the plinths. And the reason why it's sort of all crudely shoved together is essentially due to the material exploration that sort of has evolved throughout my practice. Initially, I was interested in sort of displaying the body as being a perfect sort of second double, because I was really intrigued by the fact that you could never see yourself in the entire form as you could see other people. And it seems like such a backward thing. Like, you can never experience your own body as a full entity as we experience everyone else in this world. So from that, I started trying to create this sort of nuance of a second body. Very Freudian, I know, but sort of like I wanted to explore that through sculpture, and that's sort of how I came to be. But as you can see from my work, it did not come to fruition. Everything is sort of broken and sort of dictated by the failings of materials and processual errors, etc. There's a lot sort of that could have gone wrong, which I did not foresee. And instead of sort of starting from scratch and wanting to make this complete, perfect being, I think I would find that too boring. So then I sort of ran with the errors, and this is sort of what came to be. Yeah, it's a collection of body objects that sort of are of me and by me.
This is a 2-minute and 7-second triptych film installation played on a loop. It responds to Danish philosopher Søren Kierkegaard's 3 stages of life. These are the aesthetic, the ethical, and the religious. All of these elements have been poetically conveyed by merging this with mundane everyday experiences. The people in the films, audio conversation, and photograph are all members of my family. They are revealing their inner worlds, and this offers a tenderness and authenticity to the narrative. The synergy between the 3 films and the conversation is compelling, and by displaying the stillness of the orange bowl, trainers and photograph, altogether brings an intimate, relatable experience.
Within my practice, I am interested in the process of thinking through making whilst embracing experimentation and sense of precarity. I'm often inspired by every day and use the observations of the environment as stimulus for abstracting and reimagining space that both includes tangible and ethereal notions. My work here as part of Plums exhibition intends to explore the boundaries of which one realm becomes or enters another. This compositionally has been worked out by permitting myself to consider 2D and 3D methods of making in their expanded fields, and to reflect on that, I have chosen to set up a site-responsive installation that embodies both limitations and qualities of the space that it's built out from, whilst reflecting on my original and wider observations of space.